¿Cómo están? ¿Qué me cuentan? Pues aquí estamos haciendo un nuevo video para nuestro canal de YouTube y vamos a hablar al Tribeca Festival. Vamos a ver la serie de Picasso con el actor Antonio Banderas. Así que espero que disfruten de este nuevo video. Ya estamos haciendo este segundo festival, así que no se lo pierdan. Esto va a estar súper bueno esta semana. Vamos a ver a Steven Spielberg con la película Schindler's List. Así que no se lo pierdan, esto se pone muy bueno. ¿Qué tal les ha parecido un poco el intro del festival? La verdad que es sorprendente ver a todo ese montón de gente, que inclusive no alcancé a ver la entrada de Antonio Banderas a este teatro de esta universidad, de Borough Manhattan Community College. Pero eso no es lo más importante. Lo más importante, lo que ustedes van a ver, lo siguiente son las preguntas. Las preguntas son lo más importante, lo que hace de interesante cómo crearon esta serie llamada Genius Picasso de Nat Geo, que hoy comienza el 24 de abril en Estados Unidos, parte de Estados Unidos. Así que ustedes van a ver solamente pedacitos de esa pregunta, porque fue casi una hora, y la verdad que no quiero poner una hora de todas las entrevistas que le hicieron a todos los integrantes. Inclusive le hicieron más preguntas a Antonio Banderas, porque él fue el que creó el personaje de Picasso. Y la verdad que la historia es espectacular, a mí me encantó. Ustedes también van a ver otro pedacito de una pregunta un poco rara de mi parte. No pude cogerle bien la pregunta, pero la presentadora me ayudó a que Antonio Banderas, porque la pregunta era para Antonio Banderas. Entonces ustedes van a ver esa pregunta y él la explica. Entonces espero que les guste ese pedacito, que ustedes se suscriban a mi canal. Así que les dejo las redes sociales: Instagram JF_New York, mi Facebook, y suscríbanse a mi canal, aprendan las notificaciones. Ya tenemos 922 seguidores, vamos hasta 1000 seguidores, así que eso se pone muy bueno, muy bueno. Así que suscríbanse a mi canal, denle un me gusta a este video y espero que les guste.
Welcome. Thank you all for coming. And thank you for all assembling from various parts of the world to talk about this terrific series that encompasses such a life. It's a perfect example of what this Genius franchise is meant to be. It's a name you know, it's paintings you know, but having seen 4 episodes, I can tell you as a Picasso fan, I didn't know half of this story. It was just an extraordinary life, really spanning the 20th century. I want to start with a jump ball, throw it out to anybody. In the process of making these 10 hours of telling this incredible story, what would you say is the most surprising thing or the most eye-opening thing that you learned about Picasso? Anybody in the process?
Picasso himself, his own personality. We know very much about the artist, but we didn't know so much about the persona. The everyday man that we were visiting during 5 months, his tremendous independence from anything else, his lack of justification. He never justified anything, not in his heart and not in his life. If somebody asked him always about the meaning of certain paintings that he did, the Guernica, what is the meaning of the bull? What is the meaning of the horse? He always says the bull is a bull and the horse is a horse. And that woman crying there is a woman crying there. In his life, he was pretty much the same, even with a very complicated life, a life in which he left behind some collateral damages. Because we talked about that before. I think a genius, and we go to the generic name of the series, as much in Einstein like in Picasso, and probably more people in the future that are going to visit the TV show, genius is almost like a pathology. There are people who are capable of doing something very important, different, opening ways, things good that are going to actually affect a very large number of people all around the world, but then they have a very strong, incredible incapacity in the short distances. They produce a lot of damage around the people that are surrounding them. They are egotistical, they are very arrogant, they are very difficult. That was the most surprising thing for us to discover, you know, this kind of dichotomy between the genius that we know, the one that we love, which is actually, in the case of Picasso, in the museums, and then the human being who travels through life with a backpack filled with greatnesses and with miseries, and a big magnifying glass on top of him.
Alex, how was it for you to embody the younger Picasso?
Well, it's been really, really incredible and fun, and it took a lot of effort. I had an incredible partner in Picasso with Antonio, and he's got the Malagueña accent, so I could visit him and listen to him, and we were traveling around Europe together, so we had a lot of time to discuss, you know, the mannerisms and his outlook and how his culture played into the way that he saw the world, and an incredible team that Ken and everybody here has assembled. So it's been a whirlwind. Yeah.
In the show, I mean, what comes through, this was a man of enormous appetite for painting, for art, for life, for love, for, you know, at some points for drink and, you know, all kinds of exotic drugs, which are an interesting element in the series as it goes along. But one thing that is so clear is the role that women played as his muse. I would love to hear from Samantha or Clémence what it was like to embody these characters that were so integral to his work in various stages of his career.
that's one of the things I love about Nat Geo, because I had the privilege of being in season 1, where they gave time and space to tell female stories. It was amazing to give Dora Maar, my character, and Francois Gillot the space and the sort of the praise that they deserve, supporting and having a hand in the genius that Picasso was. I think it's, you know, one of the most amazing things that Nat Geo were doing.
Not really, because Françoise is, as I think we find out later, a very modern spirit, and I felt very, very close to her, actually, in lots of ways, and yeah, just fell in love with the artist that she is.
Curiosity and imagination obviously go hand in hand with genius. As the shepherd, as one of the shepherds of this franchise, what has doing Einstein and now Picasso, what has it taught you about sort of the nature of genius? What defines genius with a lowercase g?
Well, first of all, defining genius is something that we've endlessly been working at since the beginning of the series. And there's so many different ingredients, of course, but curiosity is certainly one that I think that all of these geniuses and the geniuses even outside of our series seem to access on. Curiosity, having endless curiosity, and using that force to assault the laws of the world. And I guess geniuses use that curiosity endlessly to assault the way things seem to be working and how it's affecting their perspective and how they seem to choose to want to change that because they don't believe in those particular laws. And when that force is used, curiosity, it has to have at least the same amount of grit because it has to be sustainable. And in the case of Picasso, and I think you could be able to comment on this, is that geniuses seem to always be at war with themselves somehow. They seem to be often trying to overcome emotional injuries that seem to be also an endless kind of lifetime project for them. And those those ingredients are usually kind of used in application to try to not only have an original idea, but then to bring form to that original idea. And then, as Antonio said, have it make a difference in the universe.
This is a man who lived for almost 92 years, and so he lived a giant life, which is, of course, one of the reasons he was such an exciting subject for us. But then I think as storytellers, to have to take this enormous life that's been written about, talked about, debated, and try to mold it into a narrative that has all the ingredients of good drama, which is emotion and suspense and conflict, and to try to shape it in a way that would be really compelling to an audience, I think was probably the biggest challenge. And then, of course, we had some really difficult but very exciting production challenges. You know, we shot in 4 different countries and on a very kind of fast-paced television schedule, and as you can see, we were very ambitious in what we tried to achieve visually, because of course that was the other big challenge, which is, we're gonna make a show about the greatest visual artist of the 20th century, and now we have to figure out how to visualize that.
It better look good,
so
right?
It was a little bit of was a little hubris, I think, that went into the undertaking to even attempt it.
Well, honestly, this is really Ken who devised the story, which was quite a feat. And we're really there to help shape and guide. I really feel like you had a very clear sense of what you were going after.
I did. I also had a great writing staff, a couple of whom are here tonight. I think Raph Green is in the audience somewhere, and Noah Pink. And so I had a really, it was a team, a team effort, and certainly the production was a team effort. We have some of our amazing designers are here. Davina Lamont, who designed all the hair and the makeup, not only for this, but for Einstein and lots of other shows with me. I always never want to do a show without Delevingne, and I think Sonu Mishra is here, who did these incredible costumes, and we have incredible cinematographer Matthias Herndl. So it was really a team effort, and we were very supported by Imagine in terms of putting that team together and giving us the sort of the space to really dig in and develop this kind of complex.
Antonio, you could make the case this is literally the role you were probably born to play. You were literally born in Picasso's hometown, and I'm going to, hopefully I'm not going to mangle the pronunciation, Malaga.
Well said.
What was it like when you were a child? What was the legacy? Was Picasso kind of an enigma in that town and in Spain? Can you talk about what it was like to grow up there?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, I've been talking about this. I don't want to sound repetitive, but it's true. What you have to do is just to put in context how I started listening the name of Picasso. I was born in a country under a dictatorship. General Franco was in power when I was born, and he died by the time that I was 15 years old. We didn't have so many international heroes at the time. Not in Spain, and definitely not in Malaga. So, and Franco actually, many of the intellectuals and painters, poets, and writers that were living outside of Spain in exile, he could cover pretty much all of them to just make them disappear. But he couldn't do that with Picasso. Picasso was just too big of a sun to just cover. He probably covered the fact that he, at the time, just was part of the Communist Party, things like that. But we knew that there was a painter out there who was born in Malaga, and in my particular case, 2 blocks from where I was born, that made a big splash in the world. And so, especially my generation, he became our idol completely. We were, thinking in Picasso like the thing that you want to be. He escaped the aura of the dictatorship, this state of anesthesia in which we were living in the Spain of the 60s and the 70s. Unfortunately, Picasso, he died in Mougins, 8th of April 1973, and Franco died in the 28th of November 1975, so we didn't have the opportunity of giving Picasso the applause that the Spanish people wanted to give him. The people from my hometown, we wanted just to receive him and say, we love you, man, and that didn't happen, So that was pretty much the context. So that was the relationship that I had with these men. He was kind of the hero that escaped everything that Franco was trying to keep in close.
Yeah, and you've said that the opportunity to play him had come up in the past, but you never felt like it was the right time. What was it that made this the right time?
I was really afraid of playing him. Some other times in my life, I didn't feel prepared. He was so big. He was such a big figure for me, so complicated. And at the same time, because it was from my hometown, I felt a very double sense of responsibility. What if I don't grab him right, if I don't get a grip on the character that is right? Because let's face it, Picasso is a very mysterious man. Still now, after being with him every day for 5 months and the months of preparation and just stepping in his shoes and reading everything possible that you can read about him and seeing all the footage that you can, and talking with people, talking with his family, still is mysterious. I think it was mysterious for the people that surround him at the moment that they were with him. I think he was mysterious for himself. It's very complicated, so I was scared. And then, I am 2.5 years from being 60. I have more experience now. Some of the fears disappear. I had a heart attack a year and a half ago. I saw the face of death. And then, people like Ron Howard and Ken Biller came to me knocking at the door with Picasso in their hands. National Geographic behind, which offers a lot of credibility and prestige. And I said, if I don't do it now, I better close the door to Picasso and I go and see him and enjoy him at the museums. So I decided to jump. And here we are.
Hi, I want to have questions to
Alex?
No, you.
Antonio.
Antonio. I want to ask you a question about how you, as an actor, imagine the chapter of the Picasso, because he's not here. So how you imagine as an actor?
How did you imagine yourself as Picasso?
I worked 5 months on that, with that purpose, trying to imagine him and to portray him with respect. No, with respect for the character itself, but for the truth. To be fair with him. That was for me the most important thing. To don't fail the character, to don't fail his time, to don't fail the people that surrounded him. That was almost like an obsession during the whole entire time. Because I'm trying to just leave aside all the morality, judgment that you may just do over your character. That would be against acting and performing it. So basically those premises in my mind. Also listening to the people that you have around, and the advices that come from the script writers, from the producers, for everybody who is studying, because as I said before, we are a bunch of people just putting things in a pot, and to my fellow actors, and just trying to understand, because we know, I said that many times, but it's true, we know what Picasso did and we know what Picasso said. What we don't know completely is why.
What do you like most about the movie?
I love the raw passion that was in every single scene. I really felt the actors, they weren't actors. They were who they were trying to portray. And I just connected with each one in their own unique way. I think that was, I found, most passionate, was just the realness of each character.
And what about, what do you think about the chapters of Picasso with Antonio Banderas?
He's a timeless actor. He was really born for this role. It didn't feel like watching an actor portray him. It was like watching Picasso, and I learned so much about history and culture, and just on episode 1. So it was really eye-opening. The way he would squint, the way he would move his brush. It was so dramatic yet so poetic at the same time. He definitely nailed it.
And what do you like about Antonio Banderas? What movie do you
him? I mean, he's a deep thinker. He's a philosopher. He's so much more than just an actor. In the questions in the Q&A afterwards, he was just so passionate and persistent and really vulnerable. He embraces his vulnerability.